4 years younger than my Jeep.
Yep.
Yep.
Oh, I had to take Zayd home last night.
Overholt.
Yeah. And he was talking about this car that he wanted or something like that. I was like, here's a rig right there. One that's your Jeep.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, that's pretty cool. I was like, 1961 Jeep Willie. And he's like, how'd you know that? I was like, just looked at it, can't you tell?
Yeah.
No,
Don't you know what year it is by the
I was like,
looking at it?
I was like, I'm just kidding. It's Jacobs.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I love that thing.
And I was just telling him about what we had to do to it this weekend. And
Yeah, I was just going to say, we had a fun time getting it out, getting it fixed.
heck yeah.
Fix the,
Wouldn't have traded that day.
fix the terminal cable. It was running fine. Got it out of being buried in snow, buried over the hood. And then,
With tubing.
well, we did, that was first. We went tubing, pulled tube behind it, and then we lost brakes. That was fun. Then we had to figure out how to fix the brakes.
Because if it's not one thing,
It's another.
there you go.
Yeah,
Makes sense,
almost
right?
always. And then we were bored the rest of the day, kind of wishing something else would break down. So we didn't know
Besides
what
my
to do.
truck sitting on the road
Yeah.
broken down, you know, that was
We won't talk about that.
that was not a priority.
Yeah.
No.
We got everything fixed though, eventually.
Yeah.
So,
$350 later.
yeah. It's alright. It's better than walking everywhere. Like they used to.
Yeah.
I still every once in a while just choose to walk.
I had my bicycle.
Yeah.
I was pro. I was gonna go pro for BMX.
BMX.
Honestly, if my truck broke down for good, well, I'd either drive the Ford around or I would keep my dirt bike running.
Is it not running right now, your dirt bike?
Battery's dead.
Oh.
I probably need a new battery for it, to be honest.
Or a jump start. Or a kickstart, I mean. That's
A
what
kickstart
I
would
know,
be
I don't
nice,
know
yeah,
why
you know. They
but-
just had to make those without kickstarts for some reason. Just loosen that oil up, it would be fantastic.
Mm.
And I can use the electric start after that.
My Honda, it don't. I just click it and it's on.
Well, in the summertime, that's what I do.
Yeah, no.
But in the wintertime,
Cold just kills everything.
well, it's got to loosen that oil up, you know, and get that circulating.
Oh, yeah.
And if I had a Kickstarter, I could loosen it up with the Kickstarter and then just kick it over, you know.
Yeah. Cold beats everything.
True.
Should maybe throw another log on there, yeah?
Yeah, before we get
Get
going.
coffee steaming. So folks, if you haven't noticed, we're back in the shed. If you're watching here on YouTube, our plan is to, if we're doing an episode with just us two, to come back to the shed. And then, just because we have enough space in the shed for us two.
Plus, if it's too cold.
Yeah. Yes, we'll go to the cabins and just because of more space and everything. But you want more coffee? Get it while it's hot.
Yeah.
Yeah. The only downside to the shed is more prep time, more, I don't know, what would you call it?
Freezing cold.
Yeah. Gotta wait on the fire to heat up.
Well, let's see how
We make our coffee on the wood stove, not in a coffee maker.
well, it's -9 out right now, so
Let's throw another
that's
log.
probably why it's freaking freezing in here.
It's -9?
Yeah.
Oh, geez, yeah. Well, it's not too cold in here, though.
No, it warmed up finally, and
Beginning of the morning, we were seeing our breaths. Now we're not. Well, a little bit every now and then, but
yeah.
yeah, we were talking about maybe repositioning the stove over here, but it's a little late for that.
Yeah.
But
You want to cut out this wall?
yeah,
Demo?
yeah. Maybe. Well, summer project.
No, well, summer project is that project that Carson's got.
What's that?
That thing that the Hargadines have. He wants to build one of them for himself.
What?
That canopy thing. That big circle tent thing that they have.
I haven't seen it. Oh,
That we were in for that one night at Overflow.
I might not have been there. I wasn't there. That's the one I missed. Everyone was talking about how cool it was, and I didn't get to be there. So I had basketball.
Okay, maybe.
Yeah, I'm pretty certain I wasn't there. So I heard people talking about
Daisy
it.
was at that one.
Yeah. But, yeah. Those are fun overflows. I like them. Dave and Deb, they're kind of the ones that started with them, you know, wanting kids to come out with some of the basketball team guys, but then a lot of people showed up, and now it's just kind of turned into a youth group and
Yep.
taken off. Yeah, especially in school. Youth and stuff, but well, today we were talking about enemies and how to treat them, and because that's, you know, something with sin we all struggle with, is and our enemies and how to treat them right, and how not to give in to anger,
Right.
because it's another thing that comes with sin is anger. So we had some verses out. Do you want to go ahead and jump into those first, or
Yeah, we can do that.
anything? Yeah. You want to go ahead and start us off? You have the Romans one, don't you?
Yes, I do. Alright. Romans 12:10 says, "Love one another as brotherly affection. Outdo one another in showing honor."
So I kind of marked that down as loving.
Right?
Just like, don't use, be competitive to be nice to each other. Kind of nice saying, ain't it?
Yeah, kind of.
I don't have it here in front of me, but here, I'll pull it up in here too, so I can kind of go along with what you're seeing. So I'm not talking about praying, give thanks for those who make trouble for you. Yes, pray for them instead of talking against them. So, yeah. I guess basically the definition of an enemy would be people trying to cause problems for you.
Yeah,
I mean, essentially,
pretty much.
a bit the definition of an enemy. And it says, pray for those who make trouble for you. Instead of talking against them, pray for them.
Right. Well, we kind of discussed that our first week, you know, when you were talking about just feeling the need to pray for people, you know.
Yeah.
They're not necessarily people who are on our good sides, I guess, you know. And
friends.
yeah, we have people like that in every aspect of life, but sometimes we just have to, you know, sometimes just gotta pray for everyone.
Yeah. Is that still on again? Yeah. So some of these. This next one is Hebrews 13:6. I got it pulled up here. Here, you can look at it. They're all in here too.
Okay.
If you want to, then we can follow along with each other.
Right.
It's on the next page, I think. Yeah. So this one's about not being afraid of enemies and those who face you. So, yeah, Hebrews 13, verse 6. So we can confidently say, "The Lord is my helper. I will not fear. What can man do to me?"
Right.
So, kind of with that, our talking about our name and what it means. David Goliath.
Right.
I guess that's something we could relate that to, is you don't have to fear when you know the Lord is your helper.
Exactly. And
What can man do to you other than, you know, I mean, they can't do anything to you that's not, I mean, nothing's, when the Lord's on your side. The only thing that can happen is what he intends.
Right.
So, and he doesn't intend bad, so I guess shoot if they persecute you. That's something to be grateful for. Previous episode, giving
unless
thanks
that
and
was
persecution.
when they didn't film.
Alright, yeah.
It might have
Maybe
been.
technical difficulty on that one, but yeah, I think it might have been.
I think we went over it, so I don't remember.
A little bit, I don't know. But, don't need fear when you know the Lord is on your side and He's your helper. Because the only thing that can happen, the only thing that man can do to you is what he intends and what
Right.
he oversees. So, the next one you want to pull up, Luke 1:74. I'll take that so I can follow along with you.
5, 4, 1. 174.
1 verse 74.
Okay.
Starts with He promised. Is that King James?
Yeah.
So,
I was so confused. It went from 73 to 75. Okay. To grant us that we, being delivered from the hand of our enemies, might serve Him without fear.
is that it?
Yep.
That it? Okay, so and then my what I was saying is He promised that we would be saved from those who hate us and that we might worship Him without being afraid. So that I also marked as not as a verse to not be afraid. Yeah, he promised that we would be saved from those who hate us.
Yep.
And we might worship Him without being afraid. There's that kind of thing, worshiping under persecution, kind of. It's not, I mean, direct, but it's essentially along the same lines.
Mhm.
And the hate part, I feel like that's a big thing in today's world is hate.
Yep.
Everything's translated. If you don't disagreement is translated to hate. Difference is translated to hate. Everything is considered hatred.
Yeah. You don't like my viewpoint, then you hate me.
And
Which is unfortunate.
the one thing we should be hated for is the love of Christ. So,
Well, think of it this way, okay? God gave us all a free will, right? So then we can choose between Him and Satan, right?
yeah.
But also between, what we want in this worldly experience, And nobody's free will is the same.
Period of time.
Yeah, nobody's free will is the same.
Yeah.
And people have lost sight of that.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. And it just turns into hate.
Yep.
You want to check that? Do we need to throw another log on there?
We still got flames.
Still got flame? Okay. But yeah, no, I'll touch up on something with hate when I have, but I'll do that after I read my verse. If you want to pull up Deuteronomy 24 in your Bible, just whenever you get a chance, that's what the next one is.
24 for?
20 verse 4.
Oh,
Deuteronomy. Alright, I got Proverbs 25:21.
I just started a study in Deuteronomy, actually. Skip Leviticus.
Yeah. 25, 21, 25, 21. Alright, there it is. Okay. So this one is marked down as loving. So
Okay.
this is Proverbs chapter 25, verse 21 through 22. If your enemy is hungry, give him bread to eat, and if he is thirsty, give him water to drink. For you will heap burning coals on his head, and the Lord will reward you.
I like that one.
So that's kind of a way you can think about on a little more earthly perspective, I guess.
Right.
Care for him.
Uh-huh. Well, and that'll kind of go into one of our topics that we're going to talk about later. Using the golden rule.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll touch up on that after we finish
Yeah, I
reading.
mean, I think something to go along with that. I'm gonna get more coffee, but something to go along with that is empathy. I mean, if you're, have empathy for others.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of with the golden rule. It's all has something or another to do with empathy, in a way. If you're, fellow child of Christ, which is anyone,
Right.
Christian or not, is struggling and they need food or water and earth, and put it in perspective, and you have the resources to provide that for them, do it. You know?
Right.
Because then, how would you feel if you were out like that and no one was there? You know, if they did, they just walked by you like everyone does.
Exactly.
You know, that's one thing is homeless people. Feel for them, like, you know. Tell you right now, I don't know what I would do if I was homeless in this temperature. It's not doable. I don't know.
I don't. -10.
Yeah, and
now.
it's hard because what do? You can't really just open up your house to a bunch of
Yeah.
homeless, you know. But I mean, I don't know. I feel like collectively as people could maybe figure something out, but people just seem to be too focused on themselves nowadays. But I'm doing my thing right now. You figure it out,
Yeah.
Just like I got my family, I'm looking after, but
Yep.
when we could all work on that. But
You
so yeah,
want my verse.
yeah, go ahead and read yours. Deuteronomy 20 verse 4.
Okay. For the Lord your God is. Wait, yes, okay. For the Lord your God is he that goes with you, to fight for you against your enemies, to give you the victory.
Oh yeah, I should have pulled that up. Just making sure that was the one. Yeah, that's a.
Kind of
I
just.
said that was not to not be afraid one.
Yeah, that is a not to be afraid one. It's also kind of just says, just any problem we have with our enemies, the Lord is there to help us.
Oh, and it's kind of like that last one. It's not the last one. The one before is
Right.
Lord your God goes before you.
Mm-hmm.
He's there. He'll fight against those who hate you, and he'll save you.
Right.
So I mean, that reassurance, being bold in your walk with Christ, like our one episode was about.
Mm-hmm.
Lord's with you. He goes before you. Nothing man can do to you is unbearable.
Right.
I mean, and yeah, he looks after you.
Exactly.
But so yeah, those were the verses we had today. So I just had some, I guess, we're told to love our enemies. That's in the Bible it says that often is to love your enemies. And that's a really hard thing to do sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
You just sometimes slow down and think about things before you just start, which is, it's hard though.
Yeah.
It's hard to love someone that doesn't love you. It's hard to not,
Yeah, I know what
But-
you're saying.
It's what we're supposed to do because that's what Jesus did. And yeah, along with not being afraid, we don't need to fear our enemies because God's on our side. So what can they do?
Exactly.
Oh, one thing I wanted to say. In the Bible, like Daniel and those other people that were persecuted for Christ, they were martyrs. They were not afraid because they knew Jesus had their back. I mean,
Mhm.
Daniel, he came out untouched. He was petting the lions.
Right.
And the other people were being stoned and asking God to forgive them, forgive the people stoning them.
Yep.
Because they didn't realize that they're, I mean, Jesus, key example, forgive them. They don't know what they're doing.
Yeah.
I mean, in the middle of being nailed to, like he's nailed to a cross with a crown of thorns, and they're mocking him and spitting at him. He's asking God to forgive him. So
It's crazy.
if they can do it, I mean, he was human too. He was fully human.
Yep.
Fully human, fully God.
Besides
he
the
felt
fact that he was perfect.
Yeah, but he felt every pain, every temptation. I mean, his pain was more bearable than anything we could ever feel because he had every sin of the world that had happened, has happened,
And will happen.
and will happen.
That's
So-
crazy to think about.
That was, imagine the guilt from like spilling milk on the floor or something. Like, oh dang it! Imagine every single sin anyone's ever committed on you.
Right.
Yeah. And he felt the physical pain, just because he was human, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But so yeah, I just wanted to point that out. That they were given praise in the face of persecution.
Yeah.
And Daniel, and there was a law put in place to shut him down praying wise. He's like, yeah.
Yeah.
He didn't care.
Yep.
'Cause he knew God had his back. He didn't worship an idol. Which I think it's crazy how people would ever worship a statue. What's the purpose of that, you know? But
Right.
so then something you wanted to point out was managing how this goes along with anger, managing your anger, and
Right.
putting God first over other things, and then the golden rule, which we
Yeah.
kind of mentioned earlier. You know,
Yeah.
you want to treat others how you want to be treated, enemy or not.
Yeah. I mean, it's so easy to fall into anger, you know, just
Yeah.
right off the bat after something happens. But, I mean, God tells us multiple times throughout the Bible that we just need to have faith in Him, you know, in everything that we do. And once you see that, it makes it a little bit easier. Not much, but a little bit.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, and there's a quote. So this book, it gives a quote about the topic in front of everyone. This is a really good one. It's a quote by Abraham Lincoln. If I make my enemy my friend, have I not destroyed my enemies?
There you go.
So,
Yeah.
I mean, you can't have an enemy if you
If you don't consider him your enemy.
if you make him your friend. So, I just thought that I should point that out. That's a good
That's
quote.
a good one. I've never heard that one before.
So yeah, and then another note I had was, so yeah, we want to love our enemies, and then give praise in every moment of life,
Mm-hmm.
because you can do it. God's with you. Jesus talks about, or in the Bible it says that He went before us and He's felt every temptation in the world, and God doesn't throw stuff at you that you can't handle.
Right.
But you can't do it on your own. You have to,
Yep.
You want more coffee?
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
I'm just using this excuse to go warm up.
Yeah.
I'm not done.
You're right. No, it's not too cold. I was just gonna check if I need another log too.
Probably.
But yeah. Yeah. God knows.
You know, the golden rule, it's not necessarily something that is like, I guess, super directed to the Bible, you know? It's pretty implied. I don't know if it's clearly written in here though, you know?
Yeah.
But just treat others how you want to be treated, you know? I mean, if you wanted to be hated upon for something that you believed in, then by all means, be free to go do that to somebody else. But me personally, you know, I don't want to have... This was my goal a few years ago, after I lost a group of friends, you know, is I didn't want to have any enemies, you know. So I made it right with all the people that I wasn't friends with anymore, because even though I didn't agree with them, I didn't want them to be enemies, you know.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, some of them I still keep in touch with, but I don't want them to not like me because I don't like them, you know, or something like that. Or I don't want to them to go talk behind my back because I talked behind their back, you know. I don't want to have any enemies.
Don't want to let your pride keep you.
Exactly.
The reason that something's not. Yeah.
Mm. God says in Ecclesiastes, I think, that this world is temporary, right?
Mm-hmm.
But he gave us this world for worldly pleasures, and that's not to say go sin, you know.
Yeah.
It's in proportion to God, but it's limited life. Let's live it, you know. I mean, you can't live a good life with enemies. So
Yeah.
there's no use in them.
And as long as sin and human nature is making decisions, you're not, you're not
Mhm.
enemies, like, especially in
Yeah.
government.
Yeah.
I think that's and we don't like to talk too much politics on this because we don't want to have that be the reason people don't listen, but I feel like one of the biggest problems in our government and with all our officials is they're not trying to help each other.
Right.
Like, after the election, once the president's in place, the other party, their number one priority is to make him look as terrible as possible in his 4 years,
Right.
so that he doesn't get reelected.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, what would it look like if once the president's elected, he's now the president of the United States of America. Why would you?
Whether you like it or not, that's your president.
That's not your decision. Why not, instead of trying to make him look as terrible as possible for 4 years, why not try and maybe help him do the best job he can do? Because he's the president of the United States.
Right.
Instead of trying to paint him as some terrible guy, so that he doesn't win the next election because he's not a part of your party.
Yeah.
Why not just, put the energy you do to making him look like a terrible person to making him look like helping him do his job good,
Right. Well, and I'm not a history major. My father is, but I'm not. Actually, he's not a major, but I don't remember who said it, but somebody said, a house divided, it won't stand. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So, if just when you have two sides, two political parties that are constantly battling each other, it just rips everybody else down,
Mm-hmm.
And it can be related to this, is in wrestling practice, we'll be in a base, on our hands and knees, and our coach will take one of our hands away and then push us over to see, just to see if you can stand better with 4 legs or 3, right? That's the same way this whole world is, when we're constantly fighting against each other. If I got one hand behind my back, that's not going to help me stand together with this other person, unless if we're both fighting for the same reason.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's just the biggest problem we got is rather than trying to help each other out, we're just trying to make, I don't know.
Yeah.
But I think there's definitely division. I feel like you'd want to try and make because if you're painting the United States of America president of the U.S. as a bad person, you may be winning the next election. Your party might be winning the next election.
But that's not now.
But you're making the whole country look terrible. I think it looks awful when you just have a bunch of people fighting.
Right.
Like, within the country, because, I'm sure the other countries that aren't our allies love to see us fight with each other.
Yeah. Well, and then,
never anything nice to say, it seems like.
a little bit related, we just have to focus on what we have right now, I remember this summer, I use this phrase a lot. You can ask just about anybody I worked with, but somebody came up to me and said, "What are you doing tomorrow?" And I said, "Well, that's tomorrow. I'll figure it out tomorrow."
Yeah.
I don't care who runs. Well, I have to vote next year, so I will care then. But
everyone has their own preference. It's
right,
not an
but
issue. But
what's next, we can worry about next. Start planning, I guess, for the election and that stuff. But we have what president we have now, so let's worry about what we have now, and then we'll worry about what's next after this is over.
Don't spend a bunch of resources and time trying to get rid of the president.
Right.
Just try and help him do his job. That's one thing
We just have to
emphasize.
worry about what we have now. You know, and
Definitely.
even with going back to our enemies, we're getting a spanned off of our topic, but
No, it's alright.
it's still going. But
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, no, we don't necessarily have to stick to that. It's just.
But like, they're enemies, you know, God put them in our life for a reason, you know. So let's not worry about necessarily getting rid of them, but maybe overcoming them, you know, or
Doing what Abe Lincoln said.
Yeah.
Making them your friend.
Yeah.
Then you don't have enemies.
yeah, let's, you know, I mean, we have to worry about how we can view this godly instead of through anger, you know.
Yeah.
Because don't get me wrong, I have people that I'm not fond of,
Yeah.
but
We all do, yeah.
if I just mind my own or learn from their mistakes, I guess, you know,
Mm-hmm.
then that's going to make me a better person. But I didn't go and hate them for their mistakes. I just,
Well, and you may be saving their life by treating them differently than they
Yeah.
expect.
yeah. Somebody told me, you know, it was like, they were talking about this and they're like, you know, I don't like this person necessarily, but one day I saw them super upset, you know, and they're like, I went and gave them a hug because I could tell they needed it, you know.
Mm-hmm.
It's just those little things, you know. I mean, even though you're not the best of friends with them or you don't know them super well,
Doesn't mean you don't
Yeah.
don't have to be nice to them.
Yeah.
You still be nice to them.
Yep.
But, well, yeah. I think that was a good topic today. That's all we had to go over for on the guideline of enemies and
Yeah.
treating them. Getting a little chilly in here. Just
Little
letting
bit.
the fire die down though, but yeah, so if you guys are interested in being guest speakers, let us know. We have a few people lined up, but we'd still like to hear it, and
Yep.
we can start planning.
Yep. Come hang out for a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah, comment and let us know what you think about these. If there's anything you want us to talk about.
Yeah.
Anything-
Send topics. I mean,
Yeah,
we're
definitely.
we're open-minded to anything, you know.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean it's going to happen, but it'll
It
be
might
something
lead to
that
something
we,
else.
well, it'll be something that we can at least contemplate and
Yeah.
see, or we can talk to that person individually about, you know, and kind of help them, you know.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, so, yeah, just let us know. I mean, that's the best thing you can do. Just
Yeah.
stop us in school.
never hurts to ask.
If you see us around, just stop us, talk to us, or comment.
Hmm.
Yeah, let us know. And if you do want to be a guest speaker, we'll work that out.
Yep.
Like I said, we have a few people lined up already, but we're still taking more. We don't plan on being done with this anytime soon, hopefully. So,
Nope.
Yeah, thanks for joining us today, and yeah, we'll see you next time.